Hi everyone, I welcome you all to the journey of the Flutter success. I am Shubham Kumar, working as a software engineer in the geeky ends. So Flutter journey is starting something around 2015 when a bunch of Google developers started developing this platform. In the time of 2 years, they released their first beta version in May 2017. At this time, the market was very known with the mobile mobile app development term, and the market was flooded with this competitive SDK. But despite of this, Flutter gains a huge popularity among the mobile developer across different parts of the world. It has been adapted by some of the major tech giants like Alibaba for their internal app development. In the no time, it's released its first stable version in May 2018, and it's after that it's gained a 60,000 star in the GitHub, which make it the 15th most active repo in the GitHub. So you must be thinking of what is there must be something which make the Flutter really really very famous in very limited scope of time. And believe me, there is more than something which make the Flutter really competitive among the other framework. And in this presentation, we are talking about these exceptional property which make the Flutter really very exceptional. Flutter has a tagline: build beautiful app in record time with the Flutter. When we talk about the speed, we not only talk about how fast we can develop an app, we can also talk about how fast and smooth app this will perform at the time of release in the production. So to understand this better, let's go back to the time when the language were basically classified into the static language and the dynamic language. Static language like C and Fortran are very fast in their execution because they are compiled to the native machine language code, which is executed directly by the hardware. But when it's come to the development, they are very slow because even a single change of the code requires recompilation and the re-execution of the whole code. On the other hand, like dynamic language, like small talks and the JavaScript, they use interpreter which executes source code directly to the machine. So they didn't like require the recompilation and re-execution of the whole code for the small changes, which make the development process very easy. But when we compare to the performance, they are really little bit back when we compare with the time of execution. With the time advances, this compilation process advances to JIT and AOT. So AOT is a compilation process which compiles the code before its execution into its native language, which make it very fast at the time of execution. But again, like the AOT doesn't have the property like hot reload and the live reload, so it's make the development of any app or any technology very difficult. On the other hand, GIT uses some property like live reload and the hot reload, which make the development process as well as the learning process very high. But the compile code which is generated by the GIT is something intermediate code, which means the code is again compiled and re-executed by the machine, which take more execution time at the time of release. So as a in the mobile development, we require both AOT and the JOT, and the same goal Flutter has in its initial time of development. To achieve this, Flutter tries many languages, but none of these meet its requirement until and unless it meet Dart. Dart is the one of the few language, or we can say that the only mainstream language that is capable of compiling the source code in both AOT and the JIT. It's give the Flutter wings to users JIT at the time of development process, which make the development process very fast because it's provide the features like hot reload. On the other hand, it uses the AOT compilation process for its release version, which result in very fast and a smooth app for the production. Thus, it's fulfill its requirement of developing a very fast and a smooth app in very small time. A fast app is great, but the smooth app is even better. But when we talk to the smoothness, one thing that's come in our mind is animation. And when it's come to the animation, believe me, there is no other framework that is closer to the Flutter. And there is a region, and the region is jank prevention technique. So what is jank and how it's related with the smoothness of the app? So a typical device refreshes 60 times per second. In order to match this refresh rate, the app also generates 60 frames per second. That means it gets something around 16.16 millisecond of time to do its calculation and render a frame. And if an app misses generating a frame rate in between this time, is called jank, which called jerkiness in the animation. In order to prevent jank, Flutter uses a number of techniques, the one of which is AOT compilation process. As I discussed earlier, the AOT compiles the source code into its native code, which makes the code very predictive and very fast in the execution. Thus, it takes very less time for its computation and rendering a frame. Apart from it, using AOT eliminate the requirement of using any intermediate bridge impedance, which further reduces the computation time. Thus it's render a frame in the required time of 16.6 millisecond of a time. But not only this, it also uses the some generalized garbage collection scheme, which very fast clear the memory and make the memory available for the other frame, which make it memory efficient. Thus further enhances the smoothness of the app. But the story didn't end here, where the other framework struggled to render an animation at 60 frames per second. The Flutter promised to render the animation up to 120 frames per second. Thus, it's provide a very rich experience of the smoothness to the developer and the user. App size was always an issue and the question among the Flutter developer. At the initial time of release, the general APK size which it generated was something around 7 to 8 MB. With the time advances, this APK size reduces to something around 6 to 7 MB, which is still very high. With the latest release of Flutter and Dark, this app size has revolutionarily come down to the 4.7 MB, which make it to produce the lightest app among the all other platforms present in the market. Thus, apart from it's provide a very fast and a smooth app, it also provide a very light app to the production. Flutter uses the Dart throughout its framework, but it doesn't mean like you have to have any pre knowledge of Dart before starting the Flutter. You can start directly Flutter without learning the Dart, which make the learning process of Flutter very easy. If you have any language background of C#, Java, or any C++, you can easily start learning and developing app with the Flutter. Apart from it, the Flutter also like make the layout very easy to understand and very easy to catch up, which make the developer really to pick up the Flutter at very high speed. It's taken around average 3 to 4 weeks to learn the Flutter and produce a very basic simple app. In my experience, I learned the Flutter and released my first app in something around 2.5 weeks. And it is in my experience, I learned the Flutter and released my first app in the Flutter market in 2.5 weeks, and it is still one of the best selling app in the market. So this week I got some messages from the Flutter community. On the top you can see that there is a boy, 9-year boy, and he finds the Flutter very motivated to use. On the downside, there is a 55-year-old guy which found the Flutter very easy to use. So I think I made the point. It doesn't there is no barrier of age, region, language, or anything to start and learn the Flutter. You can easily learn the Flutter from anywhere, any place, with any language background. Here I come to my final words. So apart from giving a fast, smooth, and a lighter app, and it's also easy to learn, there is something more in Flutter, that is Flutter support toward its community. All the basic component that you require to build an app is directly provided as a package by the Flutter itself, like material design, map, state management package, which make the third party dependency very low, and it's make your app very reliable, because with the Flutter upgrade, this package also upgrade by the Flutter itself. So you don't need any third party dependency or third party to dependency to upgrade the package with the Flutter upgrade. That's makes that's make the Flutter app very reliable. And here comes to my final words, that is Flutter is future. I hope you like the presentation, and I hope like you must, if you don't try the Flutter, you must try it after this presentation. And thank you very much for listening.